Hello folks, and welcome back to another tutorial from Algovera. My name is Keaton, and today we're going to be talking about the Algovera Hugging Face marketplace, in which we've created several token-gated applications to help empower data scientists to build on Web3. As you can see here, we're looking at the Hugging Face page for Algovera, and we've built several demo applications that can demonstrate the functionality of algorithms in a token-gated fashion here on Hugging Face. So as you can see here, we have several different algorithms that can be tested. We have a DC GAN model for CryptoPunks generative art models, and then also a medical image classification model, which we'll be taking out in a demo application as well. Also, keep an eye out for upcoming applications that we're going to be created from within the Algovera community, such as a borrowing cost prediction time series model and an EEG classification model that was created in collaboration with the folks at Lynx during our recent hackathon. We have videos about the hackathon up on YouTube on our channel, so take a look at those if you're curious. Also, just of note, more algorithms and models will be published here from squads that are being spun up through the Algovera Grants program. If you have any questions about the Grants program, check out our blog post here, or jump in the Discord and ask any questions, and the core team will be happy to help. So lots of cool stuff coming this way, and again, we are always looking for community members and contributors to help out with these as well. So if you're interested, again, join the Discord, pop in the various channels that correspond to the applications, and ask how to get involved. We'd love to have you. So before we dive into some demonstrations of the actual algorithms and models that we have on Hugging Face, I want to go over some utility applications that we've built as well, which just sort of help you get up and running with Hugging Face and interacting with Web3 in general. So the first utility application we're going to look at here is this Web3 Wallet application. Now, if you are not new to Web3, if you've done this for a while, you probably know that there are browser-based wallets such as MetaMask that you can use to also engage in Web3. However, if you just want to create a wallet for the purpose of, say, interacting with our Hugging Face applications, we've created this application that you can use as well. So what we're looking at here again is the Web3 Wallet. We're going to do a couple things here. We're going to create a wallet, and then we're going to talk about some best practices and safety features if you are new to managing a wallet on Web3. So basically the way this application works, number one, always recommend reading this disclaimer here at the top. Again, it gives some sort of helpful information about what you should and should not do with your private keys. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'll have a wallet and you'll be actually seeing my private key on screen. Again, this is never best practice. We'll talk about that as we come up to some of these issues in just a moment. But if you want to generate a Web3 wallet for use on Hugging Face and actually any other Ethereum-based blockchain as well, you can just leave this private key field blank and click Submit. And then what will happen is a private and public key will be generated for you here, as well as the mnemonic recovery phrase. So a couple tips, again, if you're new, this is going to be helpful. If this is very familiar to you, go ahead and skip ahead, but this is important to cover. So basically the way a Web3 wallet works is you have the public address and your private key here. You can kind of think of this public address as, say, your email address for authenticating into a traditional website, and the private key would be your password here. So what that means is this private key that you get when you generate a wallet should always be stored securely, and you should never ever share that with anyone. Access to a private key gives access to all the funds in your wallet. For today's demonstration, we'll be using a test network, so we won't actually be storing any actual value in our wallet and in the test wallet that I've already generated here. But it is really, really important to manage this private key carefully. And in fact, it's actually considered bad practice to physically store this private key somewhere on your machine. Just a heads up, we are working on more secure authentication methods in the future, such as streamlined applications here on Hugging Face that will allow you to authenticate directly with MetaMask. But for the purpose of the demonstration, we're going to go ahead and use this wallet feature here. So I have already generated a wallet for us to use in the demonstration. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my private key now, and we're going to see that here. So again, this is not a real wallet that I actually use. This is just a demonstration wallet, and it's never good practice to show your actual private key on screen ever like this. But for the purpose of this demonstration, I've created this wallet ahead of time and loaded it up with some test tokens, test ETH and test Ocean as well. We do have links to faucets on how to get test tokens for the purpose of engaging in these test networks. We're on Rinkeby at the moment. I did this beforehand because the test faucets can take a little bit of time to actually send the tokens into your wallet. But again, as you can see here, I've got my public address, my private key, which again should always be kept securely, and then the balances that we'll need to actually engage in these applications. So I'm going to go ahead and go back over to our Ocean Marketplace application. Again, this is what we'd consider a utility application. So this just sort of helps you engage in the Web3 process. And it's also worth noting that what we're doing here through this HuggingFace application, you can also do through the main marketplace application as well, which looks like this, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But for the purpose here, we're gonna go ahead and use the Ocean Marketplace integrated application within HuggingFace to see how you can buy data sets and algorithms without ever leaving the Algovera page on HuggingFace. So what this does is on the back end, we're using OceanPy for all of our interactions with the Ocean Marketplace, which is a library that the Ocean Protocol has published. But what you can see here is you can search algorithms and data sets within the Ocean Marketplace, either by their ID or their DID here, or their name. So for example, as a demo here, we're gonna use the medical image classification algorithm we talked about. If you just click submit, you'll see it shows up this is the correct one. You see our Algovera logo here. This is the actual algorithm and data set we're looking for. And this field right here shows how many tokens for the specific data set you have. So essentially, I do recommend checking out the blog post on how to use Ocean Marketplace with HuggingFace algorithms and data assets, as it does give a more in-depth walkthrough of how this whole process works. But a really brief explanation is that every asset published on Ocean Protocol, which is where these datasets and algorithms are stored on the back end, every asset that's published has its own unique token that you actually need to hold in your wallet in order to use that dataset or that algorithm. Okay, so what this field right here does is it shows you the amount of tokens for the specific asset that you actually have in your wallet. So let's say, for example, I wanted to see how many tokens I had for this specific data set right here. What I could do is I could enter my private key. And once I click submit here by entering my private key, it'll show me the number of tokens I actually have for this data set. So I don't have any right now, which means I need to purchase tokens, which you can also do through our application here as well. One thing I like to do, especially when I'm using the application here, is I actually like to input the actual ID of the asset I'm using. Again, you can find this on the Ocean Marketplace by searching for the algorithm that we just looked at, or you can enter the actual ID here. And so if I click submit again, it'll do the same thing. It'll pull up the algorithm, but there's only one option here because we pulled it up directly by the ID itself. So, excuse me. So if I actually want to purchase the token required to use this algorithm, what we can do here is you can select this buy top result checkbox, and once you enter your private key here, assuming you already have enough ETH and Ocean in your wallet to cover the balances, which earlier in the video we checked this test wallet and found we did have enough, you can click submit here, and then it'll automatically buy this token for you. And then when this updates, it usually takes a couple seconds. When this updates, you'll see I'll actually have one token in my wallet now for this particular asset. Again, the whole idea of token gated assets on Web3 is this idea that you need a specific token in order to access this asset on chain. So what we're doing right now is actually purchasing this token directly from the Ocean Marketplace. Again, this process we're doing right here, you can do by going to the Ocean Protocol and actually purchasing the token from MetaMask here. I ran into an error. Let me go ahead and try that again. Make sure my private key, no errors here. Should have enough ETH and Ocean to complete this transaction. Again, it can usually take a couple seconds for this to go through. Gonna give this just a moment. And yeah, again, we are working on integrating MetaMask into our HuggingFace applications via Streamlit, so we can actually purchase the application again. So here, that was an interesting UI bug there, but you can see we now actually have 2 data tokens for this asset. So the first attempts did actually go through despite that temporary error message. One tip I always like to give folks is that when you're purchasing really anything or taking any action on chain, it's always good to use Block Explorer like Etherscan to make sure a transaction has actually gone through. Often UIs take a moment to catch up as Web3 works on fully integrating with Web2 infrastructure. So again, before we buy this, we're just going to go ahead and take a look at this. This is the data set itself. So again, you can see it's the sample data set for the inference algorithm. And again, we don't have any tokens for this data set. Real quick, I'm just gonna go back to the algorithm, which we already purchased. And you'll see we have 2 tokens for the algorithm itself. Whoops, that was where my private key was meant to go. Again, as you can see, if you input the wrong information in these fields, it will throw errors. But so if I go back to the algorithm, you'll see I have 2 tokens here, which is correct. So now again, I want to actually purchase tokens for the data set itself. And the reason we're doing this is because what is coming up next in the demo is we're actually going to run a compute job and use the data set and algorithm tokens that we're publishing here, all from within Hugging Face. So again, this is the data set I would like to purchase. My private key is here. I have the necessary tokens. So I'm going to go ahead and just click submit here. We're going to wait a couple seconds for this to go through. And when we're done, what the result will be is in this test wallet I've created, shown here by this private key, I will have the tokens needed to perform a full compute job on this data set using this algorithm. So actually what I'm going to do here before we try anything else, again, you see we've got a quick UI error here. I'm just going to go ahead and submit this again. And then we should have a successful transaction here. But what we're going to do is so the result of this, what we're doing here is that we'll have enough data tokens to actually purchase the data set itself. Again, you can see here I have 1 data token for the data set, and we'll have enough tokens to purchase a compute job using the algorithm we published as well. So again, if this is all new to you, I definitely recommend reading our blog posts. They'll all be linked in the video description here. But when you see the value unlocked by using things like private AI and this token-gated model for accessing on-chain assets, there's a lot of value to be unlocked here. And again, we're all set here as we have our dataset token and our algorithm token, which we already confirmed. So all I'll need from this point to engage in the actual compute job that we're going to run here is now my private key, because we've confirmed that I have all the necessary tokens. I can enter my private key here, and what this is going to do is it's going to use those tokens that we just saw I purchased from the Ocean Marketplace, and it's going to actually run a compute job to pull up the medical image inference model. So again, this is an application and a model that we created in collaboration with Insight and a group of surgeons to classify medical images from arthroscopic shoulder and knee joints, which is a really cool application of private AI. It's privacy preserving, but still gives us all the advantages of leveraging the power of AI and blockchain. So again, this process here typically takes several minutes. We may go ahead and fast forward through this point in the video. So we're going to take a quick pause here and we will come back when the job has finished. All right, and we are back here as the compute job has finished. And as you can see here, we're getting the results of that algorithm. So if you recall, just to recap, what this algorithm was doing is taking a data set of images and then attempting to classify the actual images here. And you can see here the image and the prediction. And as you can see, the folks in the community did a pretty good job building the algorithm to predict the type of image shown here in the picture. So again, this is an example of how to use the Algovera Hugging Face applications. This is how you would run the other applications as well. Again, it's the same model. You'll need to get your you'll need to get the data tokens for the model and the algorithm itself, and then input your private key into this application, which will then run the compute job. So hopefully this has been helpful. Again, there are some more really cool algorithms and models and data sets coming to the Hugging Face page for Algovera, so keep an eye out on that. Again, if you're interested in building any applications with us, if you are interested in just having a chat about what we're doing, please drop by our Discord. We'd love to have folks. And other than that, we look forward to building the future of Web3 with you. Thanks so much, folks, and we'll catch you in the next one.